I started scripting this countdown, I was wondering how I was going to introduce it. I could start talking about how much I love the amazing Metal Gear series, with its deep story, engaging gameplay, and epic boss fights. Or maybe I could start talking about how much I love boss battles in general, seeing as this is my 10th countdown about them, and now I will tackle yet another series. Wait a moment. Yeah, that should be enough. So yeah, another boss battle countdown. You know that I love Metal Gear and its great battles, so I guess there is not much to explain here. Except for the occasional rules, of course. First of all, this is a top 10 Metal Gear bosses, without the solid. This means I considered battles from every single games in the series, including Rising Revengeance, so if you are one of those people who don't like this amazing spin-off, I recommend you stop watching right now. Although, it would be pretty cool if you stay anyways. Secondly, remember this is my list with my own personal opinions. It's perfectly fine if you disagree, but don't be rude about it. I think this is important to clarify, since, for example, the battle against the end won't be featured on here. Yeah, don't kill me please. Finally, I have to warn you that... Spoiler alert! Now let's get on with this, shall we? You know the bosses on this list are going to be awesome when the Zorro just gets the number 15 spot. I mean, I love every member from the Cobra unit and their battles. Okay, maybe with the only exception being the Fear. But the Zorro has to be one of the most interesting of the Cobras. With his tragic backstory that reveals he was killed by his lover the boss, and his creepy appearances all the way through Snake Eater, the Zorro is truly a memorable character. But I especially love his boss battle, and yes, this is a boss battle. The Zorro has a life bar and he can give you a game over screen. Granted, the life bar is already empty and you can't really kill him, but he still is a boss in my eyes. The Zorro will force Snake to walk down a creepy river, while the ghosts of all the people he killed in the game will appear and try to get to him, even the fallen members of the Cobra unit. Aside from these disturbing appearances, the Zorro will also attack with a screamer. Combined with the music and the rain, and the perfect atmosphere of creepiness is accomplished. At the end of the river, the Zorro will apparently kill Snake. Seriously, no matter what you do, that will always happen. What you have to do is to use a revival pill. Oh, Kojima!
Clever tricks for a ghost.
Overall, it's a memorable fight, with some disturbing imagery, engaging atmosphere and some mind-blowing twists. If it was more of a boss battle with more fighting, it could have been much higher. Come on, I'm sure that didn't scare you. You saw it coming from a mile away. Let me just say that I love Raiden. A lot. But let's not forget about the original badass cyborg ninja, Gray Fox, and his boss battle from the original Metal Gear Solid is worth talking about. Frank Jaeger was a former member of the Foxhound unit who betrayed Snake, but was defeated when the Metal Gear D was destroyed, until the Patriots revived him while transforming him into a cyborg ninja. When Snake encounters him multiple times at Shadow Moses, you can't help but feel really intimidated. He's covered in a metallic exoskeleton, he wields a katana and he kills multiple soldiers in a quick flash. When Gray Fox finally tries to kill Otakon, the scientist otaku who wets himself, Snake finally has to fight him, and it's really intense. You won't be able to use regular guns on the battle against this cyborg ninja, so you will need to fight him with your own fists. He will jump around and try to slash Snake with his sword, while you avoid his quick moves and counter-attack with punches. It's an intense battle and you can't just rush through it. You will have to think carefully of every move you make. After the battle, it is revealed that Gray Fox is actually Frank Jaeger, bringing a great emotional twist to the battle, especially to the fans that play the MSX games, and sadly not many people did. I love Gray Fox and his fight, then don't you think that he would make for an amazing protagonist in a future Metal Gear Rising game? That would be so cool! Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty is a fairly underrated game in my eyes. I mean, the story was still very deep, the gameplay was still fantastic, and I actually liked Raiden in that game, even if he was a bit of a whiny pussy. However, I still feel MGS2 was not as good as its predecessor. The story could get confusing at times, the coded conversations were way too long for my taste, and it's right there with Peace Walker as having some of the most uninteresting boss battles in the franchise. Granted, they are not necessarily bad battles, but in comparison to the rest of the series they are not very memorable nor entertaining, with just one exception of course, which is placed at the number 13 spot, the several unmanned Metal Gear rays. Oh yeah, your eyes are not deceiving you, Raiden is fighting several of these giant mechas at the same time, and it's so satisfying! The battle itself is not too complicated. You will have to shoot their legs in order to stun them, and then shoot them in their heads while avoiding their missiles, bullets and other projectiles. Rinse and repeat until every unit is defeated. The simplicity of this fight is what keeps it so low, but even still, why should you care about that? You are fighting multiple nuclear giant robots by yourself! Who cares about the details? Not only this concept is extremely epic, but the battle itself is really hectic and entertaining. This is truly one of the best moments in Sons of Liberty. Who would have guessed Raiden would become a professional Metal Gear Ray Destroyer later on? Foreshadowing!
Okay. Draw!
Well, it usually takes longer for a YouTuber to reveal what they were foreshadowing. Yet, there's no surprise here. It was obvious my favorite first boss was going to be featured on the list. I mean, Metal Gear Rising is an amazing game, with a badass combat system and some of the most epic boss battles you will ever face. Maybe they don't have the same level of depth as most bosses in the Solid games, but they are still worth fighting. The first boss you ever face on this spin-off is already over the top as hell, seeing as you fight yet another unmanned Metal Gear Ray just at the beginning of the adventure. The battle is simple, yet incredibly overwhelming. Raiden will have to avoid the machine's attacks while attacking its legs and head until one of the most badass and satisfying quick time events is activated. And it's so awesome! Of course, this already amazing battle has a second phase in which the Metal Gear Ray will attack Raiden on the roof of a building. Once again, you will have to avoid his projectiles while damaging the head until yet another great quick time event is activated. Raiden will jump in between missiles, climb up to a building, and slash that fucker into pieces. I said it before and I will say it again, this game is so awesome!
Aw, kick fucking ass!
For a first boss, Metal Gear Ray has a lot going for it. It introduces the player to the game in a perfect way. It's huge, it's badass, it's epic, and it's just a downright memorable battle in a game filled with over-the-top bosses. No wonder it's my number one first boss in gaming. I mean, this battle is the reason I bought Metal Gear Rising in the first place. And, of course, I can't live without mentioning Ray's music track, Rules of Nature. One of the best boss themes ever. Sing with me, guys!
Finish that bastard off!
Rules of Nature! Damn it, I should stop singing this song or I will lose my voice. Ugh, this joke already got old anyways.
Okay. Draw!
And now, more love for Metal Gear Rising. At the beginning of Raiden's adventure, the African Prime Minister he was supposed to protect is kidnapped and later assassinated in front of his eyes by the leader of the Winds of Destruction, Sundowner. Of course, you feel really frustrated, and every time you kill another member of this unit, you feel closer and closer to him. Nearly at the end of the game, Raiden finally confronts Sundowner and boy is it fun!
Like I said, kids are cool, Jack. And I'm very in touch with my inner child.
Ah, I love that line. Anyways, the battle against Sundowner is extremely entertaining and satisfying after so much build-up. The fight is divided in three phases. The first one is possibly the best one, as Sundowner will protect himself with a mechanical shield and attack you with his giant swords. You will have to avoid and block his attacks until he protects himself. Then you will have to use blade mode in order to destroy his shield. This was a great idea for a boss fight, as it perfectly exploits one of the best mechanics in the game. After you destroy his protection, the second phase will begin, in which Sundowner will fight you in a more offensive way. And sadly, this is the reason he can't be any higher. Since you can still take off some of his health in the previous phase, it's most likely it will be very low by the second one, and it will not last very long. This is a shame because he has some very unique attacks in this phase, like cloning himself or grabbing one of the pillars in the background in order to attack Raiden. Heck, these attacks are so rare that I couldn't even find footage for them. Finally, Sundowner will destroy the arena with a missile, Raiden will hijack a flying enemy, and you will have to control it while it flies back to the previous area. This part feels a bit gimmicky, but it makes for some great cinematic value, especially when you get to slash the building rooftop, destroy a helicopter, and finally slash Sundowner to pieces. Oh yeah, payback is so satisfying, you fucker! And like every other boss in the game, the music is incredibly memorable. Red Sun in particular has some great instrumentation, with lyrics that reflect Sundowner's personality. Overall, it's just another great battle with some cinematic action, and even a great idea that will require you to actually think before you attack, and forces you to use one of the best mechanics in the game. If the second phase was a bit more intimidating, it could have been a lot higher. Oh well, I still love you, Sundowner. Actually, that's not true, I hate you, you're an asshole, but I love your battle anyways.
Okay. Draw!
During the entirety of Metal Gear Solid, Liquid really managed to mess up with his brother's head. Not only he killed Master Miller and impersonated him in order to manipulate Solid Snake, but he also tricked him into activating the deadly Metal Gear Rex. After that, Liquid Snake reveals that he's actually Snake's twin brother, seeing as they are both clones of Big Boss. What a shocking revelation! For 1998 that is. So, after we get a quick glance at Liquid's classy methods...
Snake! Did you like my sunglasses?
The fight against him and his Metal Gear begins. During the first phase, Snake will have to avoid its projectiles, shoot at Rex's weak spots with your missile launcher, and just like every other battle against these nuclear mechas, it's really simple but epic and hectic at the same time. Taking one of these giant monsters all by yourself feels really good. And it has some emotion in it as well, seeing as how Grey Fox appears during the middle of the fight, remembers his friendship with Snake, and ultimately sacrifices himself in order to save him. Then you will have to attack Rex a few more times until the first phase is over. After that, both Solid and Liquid end up on the top of the destroyed weapon for a final confrontation before Shadow Moses Island is blown to pieces. And what an epic confrontation! Two twin brothers, fighting with nothing but their bare fists in a fight to the death. Not only this battle is very intense, but it's also very challenging, since Liquid will put up with a great battle. Too bad the controls for the fighting are clunky and outdated for today's standards. Finally, after you defeat him, Snake will have to escape on a car, while his brother tries to get him in an amazing chase scene that leads to the end of the game. The Metal Gear series is full of amazing final bosses, and trust me, this won't be the only one featured on the list, but the final battle against Liquid in MGS1 is the original final confrontation, with some great build-up, emotional impact, epic gameplay, and a lot of intensity. And to think that this one just barely made it into the top 10!
Okay. Draw!
If you recall my top 6 Cobra unit members, a short but sweet collab countdown, you should remember I think the Fury is the most interesting member of said unit. And of course, one of the reasons I think that is because of his amazing boss battle. During this fight, the Fury will have to fight Naked Snake underground. The arena is black pitch dark and you will have to hide behind walls and pillars. While this badass boss attacks you with his flamethrower and flies around with his jetpack, Snake will have to sneak around the area in order to find the Fury and attack him. If he finds you first, however, he will burn Snake's entire body and you will instantly have to heal Snake's burns. It's a very intense battle, and you will have to put a lot of thought into it if you don't want the Fury to discover you. This is exactly what a boss battle in a stealth game should feel like. Like I mentioned before, the Fury himself is also a great character. He used to be a Soviet-Russian astronaut who saw the entire world covered in fire when his spaceship was engulfed in flames. Ever since that moment, the fire, or better yet, the Fury inside him has been growing. This backstory is actually very creative and led for an extremely memorable enemy in an extremely memorable boss battle. Finally, wanna know something fun? The Fury appears in No More Heroes 2 under the name of fuck it, I won't even try to make that easy joke. Next number!
Okay. Draw!
So, Jetstream Sam, you were an amazing rival all the way through Metal Gear Rising. I mean, right at the beginning of the game, he faced Raiden in a battle and absolutely destroyed him. So yeah, it's natural Raiden wants to have some revenge on him and Sundowner. Or should I say, revengeance?
Haha!
So yeah, after encountering Samuel multiple times in the game, you end up loving to hate this guy. He may be your rival who makes Raiden question his morals and his beliefs, but you can also certainly tell he's not a true villain. He's just a honorable cyborg warrior, just like Jack. Nearly at the end of the game, you just want to fight him so hard, and when it finally happens, it's so amazing. At number 8 we have the battle against Jetstream Sam from Metal Gear Rising. After everything that happened between you and him, the build-up and emotional impact for this battle is just excellent. Combine that with the fact that they are basically two ninjas fighting each other during sunset, and the badass song that sounds during the battle, The Only Thing I Know for Real, and you got yourself an incredible and epic atmosphere. The fight itself is extremely challenging, possibly one of the hardest bosses in the entire game. Oh yeah, this is one of those bosses. Samuel follows the cliché of being the rival boss who has similar abilities to you. A dual boss, according to TV tropes. Yeah, I just went there. However, I gotta admit that he completely nailed the concept. All of his attacks are quick yet powerful, and you will have to be extremely careful in order to avoid or block them. At one point during the battle, you can even use Blade Mode in order to knock his sword off him. You may think this would make the battle way easier, but nope, he's still fucking challenging. It's a great battle, with lots of adrenaline, a fair challenge, awesome atmosphere, and music, and one of the most memorable characters in the Metal Gear universe. So yeah, you feel kind of sad when Raiden kills Sam, as you can tell he changed the hero's perspective. And to think, Sam was Brazilian! Hey Samuel, tell me, how did it feel to lose against Germany during the World Cup by 7 goals, huh?
Okay. Draw!
There are just certain boss battles in gaming history that gamers will never be able to forget or shut up about, possibly because they are iconic, memorable, or innovative. Some of these battles include Ganon from Ocarina of Time, Kefka from Final Fantasy VI, or the number 7 spot of my countdown, Psycho Mantis. If you're watching this video, it's most likely you already know who Psycho Mantis is and why he's on here. I really wish I could stop at here and go into the next segment, but that would be too lazy. So let me explain. Psycho Mantis is one of the Foxhound members during the original Metal Gear Solid. As his name implies, he has psychic abilities, which include mind reading and telekinesis. When Solid Snake and Meryl finally fight him, we are presented with one of the most memorable boss fights in video game history. Psycho Mantis will use his psychic abilities in order to move your controller with telekinesis or read your memory card and reveal what games you've been playing.
So you've played Super Smash Bros. Melee before?
I just love this concept. This truly shows how crazy yet creative Hideo Kojima is and why he's so respected in the industry. Granted, when I faced Psycho Mantis for the first time, not only I already know about this, but I also didn't have any games on my PS3's memory for Psycho Mantis to read, so I didn't have as much surprise with this as many other people. But even still, I can't really blame it on Psycho Mantis. After this fun charade, the real battle begins and even more crazy stuff will happen. To start off, he will possess Meryl, whom Snake will have to beat up in order to knock out without killing her. Psycho Mantis will also levitate around the stage while using his telekinesis in order to throw stuff at Snake. Fun fact, you can't beat him normally, since your controller won't respond. What you actually have to do is to plug in your controller into the second player port, and then you will be able to damage Psycho Mantis properly. Oh, Hideo Kojima, you crazy bastard! The creepy music, disturbing imagery, and Mantis' crazy antics make up for a really unnerving atmosphere, which makes this battle one of the most disturbing in the series, right there with the sorrow. Finally, when Snake kills Psycho Mantis, you can't help but feel really sorry for him. He was misunderstood because of his powers ever since his mother died when giving birth to him. His father hated him because of that, which finally led Psycho Mantis to destroy his village and kill his own father. What a memorable backstory and character! So yeah, nobody will be able to forget the amazing battle against Psycho Mantis, which I think is the best boss in the original Metal Gear Solid. Also, the battle against Screaming Mantis from MGS4 is a honorable mention, and Psycho Mantis' appearances on that, it's creepy yet hilarious. Haha, suck it Mantis, we don't use that ancient technology anymore!